Hello everybody, it's good to see you again. So, I'm pretty comfy today. I don't want to be very comfy because we're talking about like a slightly uncomfy topic. And that is, what do you do when your plot blows up at Larp? So, what I mean by this is, let's say you were organizing something with multiple people or one person and, maybe you bought some props. Maybe you created this whole storyline. Maybe you like completely diverted your projected story for a character to uplift this play, whatever. And for whatever reason, it falls through. And there could be a lot of reasons why plot just doesn't work out. It could be personal reasons, right? Like, let's say you were dating somebody and you're no longer dating. You guys just part ways. Okay, you want to have your characters go separate ways, no problem. Maybe it's somebody that you just ended up not wanting to be friends with anymore. Was if it's somebody who moved away, there's a million different reasons as to why somebody's plot could just implode. But I think what's really hard is kind of how to recover and how to deal with it. Some of the scenarios that this might come up with is like, let's say you have two characters at a LARP, right? You have said, all right, I would love our characters to be enemies or have some type of antagonistic, or even, it doesn't have to be antagonistic. It could be a friendly plot and like your characters are maybe gonna get married, or your characters are family members or something like that. And for whatever reason in person B's life, your person A, in person B's life, something comes up, whether they can't attend the game anymore, or they moved away, or simply they are just not interested. Honestly, one of the biggest tips that I think I've gotten is that most of the time it isn't you, girl. It's not you. It's usually the other person, and that has most of the time has nothing to do with you, and that's okay. And I think there's a lot of us out there that, especially those, I don't have ADHD, but I have a partner who has ADHD, and I have a lot of friends who have ADHD, and rejection sensitivity is a huge part of ADHD. And I think, the fear of rejection, or like having to deal with the, oh man, okay, they won't want to play with me anymore, right? We're playing pretend, guys. And so like, think about it like that. When somebody doesn't want to play with you anymore, it can make you feel a little sad, and that's normal. That means you're a human being with emotions. It's okay. Feel a little sad about it. But there's a lot of reasons that it could happen. And like I said, most of them have nothing to do with you. And the ones that do, like, for instance, let's say you and somebody else were dating and you guys part ways, hopefully amicably, but even if it's not so amicably, you guys part ways and you guys had either characters that were married or friends or family, whatever. You guys were role-playing together in some type of way. And now you're like, well, that sucks because I was really hoping that we were gonna be able to do this plot and now we can't, and I feel like garbage and I don't know where to go with my character from here. Like, maybe you guys had been together for years and it's like, oh, all this time that I had spent like working on our characters together, what? They just and sometimes, yeah, dude, that's what happens and that sucks. So what are the steps that we can take? Honestly, when somebody wants to drop a plot, and that can mean, hey, they come up to you and they're just like, hey, what we were doing, I'm no longer interested in doing that. Or they can send you a message and go, hey, I'm no longer interested in doing that. Or they go, while I appreciate the direction we were going in, I would like to pivot. I've had to deal with these things at multiple points in my LARPing career. Now, I've been LARPing since I was a teenage girl, and sometimes I've been on the other side where I've been the one to say, I'm no longer interested for a variety of reasons. Some that were just, I stopped playing a LARP as much because I was going to college and I was just doing other things in my life at that time, and I just couldn't put as much time into the game, and it wasn't fair to the other person that if I wasn't gonna be there and I was gonna be a massive linchpin in their plot, you know, I should let them know. And that's also courteous. If you find that, like, if you're the one that's like, oh, I think I'm not gonna be able to do this plot or I'm not gonna be able to attend the game, being honest with the other person that you were engaging with is, to me, player etiquette. Like, it's just the cool thing to do. And this doesn't matter if you're in an emergent game like Malleus or Drakenfest, or even a parlor LARP, like a vampire parlor LARP, or an American boffer. It doesn't matter the type of game. Keeping these types of player etiquette things in mind just helps us create a better community. You know, like I said, being more emotionally aware about your emotions for yourself and of your fellow players, just consider it, dude. It just makes us play safer and play better together, right? So, you know, I've been on both sides of this, and sometimes, yeah, when somebody comes up to you and you were like really excited, and this goes even back into my romance YouTube video where I talked about like romance at LARPs. Yeah, dude. Sometimes people are just gonna be like, hey, I'm no longer interested, or I talked to my partner and I'm not comfortable with doing this anymore, or hey, I just, whatever, dude. It doesn't matter their excuse. What do you do afterwards? Well, there's a couple of steps. So, first, you gotta deal with your emotions, whatever that can feel. Like, you might feel anger, you might feel disappointment, sadness, all three of those, you know. Maybe you feel happiness, maybe you feel relief, that's also okay, you can also feel that. I think there is a lot of emotions any particular person can feel around a plot falling apart. And like I said, for whatever reason. I think what is important though is to, before you say anything, and before you make a response, or, you know, have a clap back, or whatever, even handle your plot then forward. Because it can be difficult when it's at a LARP versus not, because you're a little bit more in the moment. You know, in my adult topics in LARPing part 2, I did discuss a moment where at like Giovanni, a player had spread rumors, and the other player wasn't cool with that, and so the agreement was like, hey, they apologized and they were like, no problem, I'm going to rescind that, and we're just gonna pretend, we're LARPers, right? We're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. And they retconned it, and everyone was like, yeah, sure, dude, no problem. If that makes the other player more comfortable, then who cares, right? Because people are more important than LARPs, and with the idea that people are more important than LARPs, that means any out-of-game comfort and, you know, and safety is more important than your plot. And I know sometimes that can be really hard to hear when you are so invested and interested in playing with something, but at the end of the day, it is down to player respect, and that's something that you know, that you have to take accountability for. Sit with the emotions. First off, try and figure out what emotions you're feeling. Sit with them. And if you can talk about it in therapy, I would, or if you have some friends, find somebody to talk to about it before you know, make any big sweeping changes, and maybe see if there are other people who are willing to pick up the plot. Because like, after you come to terms with how you feel, then you can respond, right? And sometimes that can be really hard to do in the moment. Maybe like if you were half the game, you were lifting this play up, right? And you were ready for it, and you guys had plans, and it was supposed to be this big thing, and then it just didn't happen, or they just dropped the ball, or they pulled out of the plot last minute. Then you're like, oh my god, what am I gonna do for the rest of the event? I built stuff up around this, I made plot. Really, the first thing, especially if you're at a game, like I said, manage your emotional response first. That's the most important thing. And then, you know, if you're talking with the person after you know, trying to just accept the fact that it's not happening, be like, hey, no problem, accept it with grace. Accept it with grace. We want to not have fights, right? Accept it with grace and be like, hey, no problem, man. Do you have any solutions for what we're currently doing? Like, how would you like me to handle this plot? How would you like me to disengage? Or would you just like me to just stop and inform people out of game? And however they respond, make it work. You know, we're, like I said, we're all mature adults here. We're supposed to be able to navigate these things with, you know, a level of respect and emotional maturity, and that's what it keeps coming down to. I have seen too many times in my career. Like, even when I was a kid, guys, and I'm talking like when I was like 16 years old, okay? I've seen adults like tear each other's throats out over like a pretend plot about something happening that's so unnecessary and it's so whack and so immature. Like, it can hurt, dude, but don't take your problems out on other people. Like, you gotta accept things where they're at. So if it's at a game, try and see what they would like to do, and then recalibrate. That's really what that is. It's all about, I have had people come up to me at a game where we were having so much fun, the read and the scene seemed pretty good, and then an hour or two later, they're like, hey, I don't want to continue with this romance, or I don't want to continue with this plot. And it's like, sure, dude, no problem. Leave it where it's at. Take it with grace. You know, it could be a little wound to the ego heart. Let it go. Just go, oof, and then let it go. You know, take yourself out of the game if necessary. If you're finding that your emotional response is spiraling out of control, or maybe you're triggered, or your rejection sensitivity is too high, you are responsible for your emotions. You are responsible for your reaction. Take responsibility. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. I would say when plot goes awry, you know, when you're at the LARP is always the hardest, because, you know, you need to find a time to, if there are other people that were involved with this plot, and there were other people that were playing into it, you need to find a time to take those people aside and let them know, hey, you know, so-and-so my array let you know, but we're no longer going on with this plot thread. How would you like to redirect? Or do you have any ideas of where we could go from here? This is where the communal aspect of LARP, in my opinion, can really shine, because hell, maybe if it was your idea or this other person's idea, maybe somebody else that you were interacting with can come up with a new story thread, and maybe that will be even more fun. You know, there are so many ways that you can take a story that can be unexpected and fun and rewarding, and it's all about communication. I feel like a lot of the themes around my videos are like, hey dude, communicate, but it's true, because it's a community storytelling thing. So of course communication is going to be like the #1 thing and the #1 skill everybody needs to work at to make a harmonious collective storytelling environment. So if, you know, if you're at the LARP, try and contact the other people. If it's to the point where it was like staff would be involved, it doesn't necessarily have to be for any severe reason, but if staff would be involved because maybe they prepped an NPC or a mod, or you just wanted to let staff know because, you know, that makes you feel comfortable, I would then the next step talk to staff and just be like, hey, so so-and-so has let me know that they're no longer interested in doing this plot, and, you know, how can we work with, how can the players work with staff to, you know, if there was a mod involved and preparation involved, how can we spin this? How can we make this work better? And again, all comes down to collaboration, consideration, and communication, right? Ooh, 3 C's. I love that. Maybe I should coin that. But that's the truth. Now, when somebody contacts you out of game, I would even say it's even easier it's so much easier by like a long shot, because something like, there are a lot of games that happen quarterly, so they happen 4 times a year, which means there are changes throughout the year, sometimes to the rules, sometimes between player ties, whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of opportunity for players to contact each other and let each other know what's going on. If you're gonna be if you're the person who is going to pull out of a plot, I would do it before the game happens, if it's going to be an upcoming game, or if it's in between games, like in between episodes of a LARP or something like that, or in between, like, you know, in between play, as some games call it. I would definitely recommend, you know, doing it then, because it gives the people that you are withdrawing from time to redirect and recalibrate, and possibly even, like, you know, reclaim some of the plot points and like, it just gives them time. It gives them time to plan. It gives them time to redirect. And I think that is probably the most considerate option of the two. Like, cutting it at the LARP is a little bit of a nuclear option, but if it's necessary, it's necessary, especially if it's for your comfort and mental health. Letting people know in between games or after a game is probably the best direction. So when, this was a couple of years ago, but I had gotten direction from somebody that they were no longer interested in the plot, and I had like you know, both of us, to be fair, had invested a lot of time and effort into the plot. They were just moving away. It happens, right? But it gave me time to go, okay, alright, so we're gonna say this happened between us, and, you know, you're gonna move, and this is how I'm gonna recoup this at the LARP. Are you okay with me closing the story this way? And then, you know, you guys work that out, and hopefully the answer is yes by the end, and, that's that. I mean, like most things, as I've said, it's just talking it out, guys. It's just talking it out, just talk it out. You know, afterwards I was actually kind of lost with my character. I didn't know what direction to take them. I didn't know, like, I suddenly felt like the character was in this void, and I was like, I really don't know what to do. Like, there have been times, man, where I'm like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? And, you know, that's usually when you're in that void and you're like, I have lost all direction with my character. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to talk to. At that point, I would usually reach out to staff or a good friend that you trust that has a lot of experience in LARPing, and maybe they can give you some advice. You know, you can reach out to me. I'll help you. Email me. But I definitely, like, I reached out to a really good friend of mine who I admire, and he's, you know, he's a staff member of the game, and he plays well. And I basically was like, hey dude, I feel like I don't know what to do, and I feel like my character is lost, and I don't know where to redirect her. And it's like, it was kind of nice to hear from them where they were like, hey, your character's iconic, you can do whatever you want to do with them. Maybe something bad happens, or maybe they just go off the rails, or maybe you should just make a couple of really, really, really bad decisions and do really bad, stupid things, and just see where they go. And I thought about that, and I think sometimes after a big, like, plot redirection, sometimes a makeover can really help you, because, like, you know, people change, right? I change, you change, we cut our hair, we try different styles. You know, the same could be said for a character. I really think a great step for character recovery after a plot drops and you don't know what to do or where to go, is to, like, kind of give your girly a makeover, you know? Give your character a new look, spice them up, and then take them in a new direction. Nothing says that you can't do it's like I said, it's pretend. You can do whatever you want within the rules, of course, within the rules of your LARP. But, like, you can do whatever you want. Like, it doesn't matter. Maybe they cut their hair between games. I love, oh my god, I eat the hair cutting trope. The hair, like Hayao Miyazaki's transformative female hair cutting. Love it. I eat that shit for breakfast. Almost every single one of my characters has had a, like, hair cutting moment. One of the easiest ways to show transformation, and maybe taking, you know, that step and transforming the character literally, physically, will also help you, like, do that for their story, you know, metaphorically. I definitely think that a physical change can also give you new inspiration, you know? Maybe branch out, reach out to different community members. I know sometimes in LARP it can be very easy to play with your friends, right? We all have friends, play with your friends. Maybe, you know, reach out to somebody new, a new player, or just somebody you haven't played with before, and think about, you know, engaging with others' plots. Maybe take a step back from your own and become a supporting member in other people's stories. That could be a great way to recover. You know, I definitely think when we have ourselves centered in our play, right, like in our LARPing and how we're LARPing, while that can be fun and it can be a little bit of wish fulfillment, I definitely think LARP is some of the most rewarding when you are supporting and lifting others in their story. Because you will have your time in the light, your plot will come back around, something good could come of that. Like, by you supporting other LARPers will support you. By supporting other LARPers, you're making their stories come to life, and maybe they'll help you out with yours. And that just makes the world go round, right? It makes everything a better experience, and maybe that's what you need. Maybe that's what we all need, you know? Sometimes, when plot goes boom, it can burst into something else, and sometimes that new thing is even better than what you thought originally you could have had. So in real life and in the pretend one, maybe you'll make a new friend. Maybe you'll meet somebody that you care about, or maybe you'll just tell a good story. Whatever the case may be, you know, just because it's not going the way that you thought it would doesn't mean it's not going to be incredible. We have all made the decision to go out and be a little silly in the woods. And we've all made the decision to play pretend and tell interesting stories. And you hold your imagination in your hands. Make something cool with it. Even if it doesn't go right the first time, or you gotta redirect or completely scrap something and you think it might halt you in your tracks. There are so many opportunities out there to create a new story that you might love even more. I wanted to make this video because, yeah, man, I've been there and it sucks. It sucks so hard. It really does. And if we can, there's not a way to prevent it, right? It's just a natural happenstance of like being with other people and being in a communal environment. People are gonna go separate ways. People are going to, you know, disengage. It's the way things are. But I think our ability to take it with grace, and finesse and style and create something new and possibly even better is definitely the way to go. You know, try your best not to harbor a grudge or ill feelings, because like, dude, like I said, it's just part of life. Just let it go. It's pretend. It's not worth getting all hardened and, you know, burnt over it. It can suck if you spent money on props. It can suck if, you know, there were hours of preparation that did this thing, and it's fine to feel cheated from that, and it's fine to feel angry from that, but all we can control is our responses. And you know, maybe instead of it being for you, you can give that prop, or you can give that mod, or, you know, steer something for somebody else and give them their moment. And maybe one day that will come back around to you, you know? I totally believe in like karmatic justice. So you are what you put out there. And maybe if you put something out good from a bad situation, good will come back to you and your play will be fun, or, you know? And in the end, maybe you just need to take a step back from the game. Maybe you just need to take a step back, pause, regroup yourself, come back a couple months later, or a couple weeks later, or a couple of years later. Whatever that may be. I think the longest I ever went without LARPing was 1.5 years. And it was a break that I took in like, I think I was like a freshman in college. And I think I took like a break from my freshman all the way almost to the end of my sophomore year. And it was good for me. I think at the time I needed it. I went to a couple of events here and there. I focused more on going like international. So I maybe went to like 2 LARP events in a year instead of like 8 a year, you know, or 12 a year, because I went to a monthly game at that point. And it ended up being exactly what I needed to learn and grow, and it was excellent, you know. And I felt like when I came back into like getting back into the groove, it taught me a lot, and maybe that's what you need to do too. Everybody, I really hope I could help you today and be your, you know, LARP guru guide with this video and give you some tips and tricks. And I'd be happy to hear your thoughts below. Like, has this ever happened to you before? How did you deal with it? If you have any questions or you need advice, leave me a comment, send me an email. You know, I'm here because I want to help make our community a better place, and a place where we can take emotional accountability and personal accountability, and we can build a stronger, safer community together with those things. So if you need some help, reach out. It doesn't even have to be me. Talk to a friend. You're not alone out there. We have a great community of creative individuals. Get yourself out there. Ask some questions. I think that's all I have for you guys today. So I have a couple of videos coming out. I say that every video, but I do. I have more videos coming out. I'm actually thinking for 2024 I might be in a really, really good groove about creating content. And yeah, so stay safe, stay positive, and happy LARPing.